All right, ready? 3, 2.
Skeletor!
Skeletor!
Hello and welcome to Stories, the True and the Fiction. The podcast that revolves around one central theme, stories, and the people that tell them. We'll talk about movies, TV shows, video games, historical events, and weird news headlines. There's really no topic we won't touch. But it doesn't stop there. If you've got a story, something funny or random that may have happened to you or a friend, send it to thetrueandthefictional@gmail.com. Until then, it's story time.
From J.A. Bryan, creator of the Emu Wars, and Rebecca Cassells, author and sponsor, and creator of the Rising Dawn series, comes the next generation of heroes for children. In a modern world gripped by chaos, danger, where a dark evil once again rises, 3 unsuspecting artisans are about to rise as extraordinary defenders of justice. Meet Victor Swift. As long as my blade is true, evil will fall. A butcher with the ability to cut anything with precision. Thomas Brown. It's time to turn up the heat. A baker who can bake any bread as hard as steel. And finally, Amelia Wick. All children's souls have a Russian character, a candlestick maker with the ability to make her candles be possessed by the souls of the deceased. Tune in each week as they battle the evil mutant Rian Baig, a bureaucrat and his climate control board. For the sake of the planet, there will be a 99% tax on everything. Not if we have anything to do with it. With tools in our hands and justice in our hearts, we are the Artisan Avengers! Craftsman's Chronicles, the rise of the Artisan Avengers, coming soon to Fox Kids. Hello and welcome everyone to Stories, True and the Fictional. I am Skeletor, your long and delightful teleprompter. I'm, of course, joined by the man, the myth, the legend, the creator of fine children's television programming, J.A. Bryan. How are you going, sir?
Good. I see this is what we get when Chris has a week off work. It's like,
Yeah.
it's like all the staying up late, all the constant gaming, and then you get wiped out, and then you have a week of rest, and you just like.
Well, let's be honest. Our personalities are based on the 80s children's TV series that we watched.
Well, that's true. So basically, like when you're wiped out, you're recuperating, and then you become Skeletor.
Basically, I become Skeletor. Yeah. Yes. My voice becomes nasally. Then it's like, He-Man. I will follow your dastardly plans. I will find the secrets of Grayskull, and with those secrets, finally bring Eternia to her knees. Anyway, speaking of Skeletor and all things bony, I'm of course joined by our fellow host, who's also apparently sporting a partial bureaucrat and leader of the Climate Control Board, Ryan Baig. How are you going, sir?
After that intro, I couldn't be better or more erect.
Now, a 99% tax on everything. What are you thinking?
Well, I mean, look, I could have been cool and gone for 100%, but I thought I'd give the people what they want.
What, to be part of the 1%? Oh,
Yeah, well, I mean, without tax, people will just go off and spend their money on things that they'll enjoy. The money, and I'll control your enjoyment levels.
I didn't know I was joined by the head of the RBA here. Okay, cool. No worries. It's good to see you, Ryan Baig, head of the RBA and scourge of the universe. at the moment. I love politicians. They are the greatest people on earth. Where they're going, we need to raise interest rates because people have too much money. Why is no one spending money? You need to support your local businesses. I know. We'll raise the interest rates. Oh my God, they're still not spending money. I can't. Are the two? Why are these two things happening when I'm doing my rate rise? It's outstanding. It's the greatest decisions that have ever made in this country. But you know who it really hurts when the interest rate rises. You've got to feel sorry for those OnlyFans bubbles. Their bottom line now must be like tanking. Streamers as well, like, thoughts on the internet and streaming. Like, I'd imagine they're probably the most hardest hit in this trying times. Because, whilst people might have forgotten about their subscriptions at one time, now that people have to count every dollar, I don't know if they can afford all those, fake admiration from their internet girlfriends. It must be tough for everyone.
Yeah, look, I've noticed a subscriber drop on my OnlyFans in the last couple of months. It's gone from 10 to 5. So I'm feeling the hurt. I'm feeling the pain. And it's just insane.
Absolutely. Now, before we get around to what we are doing and things that we might enjoy, Skeletor has some actually breaking news today. Oh. Breaking news from the news desk of Skeletor. Tyler Perry unveils first Amazon Studios picture, Black, White, and Blue, starring Cat Graham. We know that this was announced on her Twitter, and all her fans went crazy, specifically one of them, who was also
home from work.
The newsreader himself. Now, the question asked, Tyler Perry, a well-renowned director, creator and Cat Graham. The question is not, will they win Academy Awards? It's how many Academy Awards will they win? Ryan, what is your best guess estimate on at least daytime Emmys on this one?
Oh, well, look, I mean, the only thing I know Tyler Perry for is that doesn't he dress up like a woman?
He does often, yes, in many a film.
However, he was really, really good in. There was one movie he did. I think it was Alex Cross. It was like a psychological thriller where he didn't play a man dressed up as a woman. He played himself. That was really good. I haven't actually seen anything with the lovely Cat Graham, so I can't comment on her acting skills.
It is absolute top shelf.
But based on the little to no information I have, I'm going to say it's going to get at least 15 Emmys.
15. Conservative number, absolutely. Jamie, what do you think?
I'm going to go for a gentleman's 3.
Gentleman's 3.
A gentleman's 3. Well, we are all looking forward to it. And you know what? Some people say studios waste their money on stupid things like Rise of the Skywalker, The Last Jedi, Indiana Jones, Little Mermaid. But I digress on Disney's many, many failures. But this is what's that other movie? Elemental. Again, I don't harp too many on Ant-Man and the Quantumania. I don't harp on all of Disney's many failures, but because we could be here forever. It's good to see a studio finally putting the money where it really matters in Tyler Perry films and Cat Graham, specifically Cat Graham. Now, Jamie, what non-Cat Graham related things have you been keeping yourself busy with this week?
Work. Quite serious. I'm halfway through Hawaii 5-0 though, and I've quite enjoyed that. It's gone a pretty
good share.
Pretty dark though, but now it's starting to get to the point where they're like some of the actors just randomly disappear and reappear, and they're obviously burnt out. It's the 5-season mark.
Have you noticed some actors phoning it in a little bit with their weight as well, where you see some actors balloon upwards and downwards depending on their contracts?
No, not really. No. I haven't really noticed, to be honest. I don't watch people's figures. But I have noticed that Steve McGarrett doesn't tackle people like he used to. Like the first couple of seasons, he chases someone and he full on crash tackles him and like it's impressive his crash tackling skills, but he
People
doesn't
get
do it very
older; they can't hit each other with their shoulders as much now.
well.
I not to do Skeletor. Ryan, what have you been doing with your time, sir?
Well, look, I've actually fallen down a rabbit hole of a show that I've had on my watch list for never really jumped into it, and that's Black Mirror. I've never actually
Oh,
watched any of Black Mirror, and I've polished
interesting.
off. I'm up to season 4 at the moment. I mean, mind you, it's British, and so there's only 3 episodes per first season and four
Yep.
four for the rest. But it's an anthology series, kind of is the word that I would use to describe it. It's not for
You
all,
are
not
sorry,
What-
Ryan.
what-
You cut out there, and you
Just on,
cut out
just on
on
the
the
word.
well to unlock that word. Please pay $5.99.
To his OnlyFans.
No, the word was disturbing. It's very, very disturbing. It's kind of like it's yeah. I don't know how to describe it, but all
Look,
I can say is I'm absolutely hooked.
There's some
And,
disturbing, like most of the episodes are disturbing, but there's actually one episode. I'm not sure if you've seen it yet, Ryan. But actually, I really liked it, and it was like the season was basically like going, everything sucks, ray of hope, everything like and the episode was it was the dating app one.
I haven't seen that one yet. No.
Oh, it's so good. Like it's honestly like it's actually one like when you see it, you'll actually be like going, that's so. It's actually one of this really weird episode. It's like just all of a sudden they're going, everything is terrible. Everything is terrible. Here's a nice episode. Everything is terrible. Everything is terrible.
I think from when I watched the first episode when I was waiting to be picked up from hospital by the patient transport, and I thought, look, I'm going to be here for a little while. It was on my Netflix list, and I thought I'll give it a go. And I found out it was an anthology series, which I really like anthology series. And then I watched the first episode, which is very disturbing. It's a good representation of how far the government are willing to go when it comes to part of their royal family.
Hey,
Basically,
the government has your best interest at heart and will do absolutely everything to make sure that your life as a battery to their power is completely happy. You will own nothing and you'll be happy.
And look, it just kind of just caught me. And as you go through, I think from season 2 they started putting some really famous people in, like Hayley Atwell was in an episode. You've got Anthony what's the guy who played no the guy that played Falcon, Anthony Mackie. You've got him, Aaron Paul from Breaking Bad. There's actually some really good characters in there, but I just find that after I finish one, and they go for an hour, they're a solid hour 15.
They're a good long
per
episode.
episode, and I just keep pressing. And then aside from that, my other life has been consumed by Final Fantasy 16.
Of course.
So,
Now, speaking of the great game itself,
grab a comic, Jamie.
no,
I've installed my game. I'm
going to briefly mention that I have in fact finished the game. 52 hours.
Which you did yesterday.
Being very, very
all
sick
52 hours.
definitely made it easier to get through it quicker because it worked. But I will say certain characters are now sort of ranking in sort of my Final Fantasy top ranking. Squall is still number 1 for me, but Clive is Clive and Cloud. Then now I'm actually like now tossing up 1A 1B. Where do we go? Renara will always be my girl, but I would say Jill has supplanted Tifa, which is a very I know absolute blasphemous thing to say, but the story is mature. It's excellent. It is exactly how you should do a story. Like, not to do any spoilers, but even when people say like, "Oh, where's the representation?" There's actually good representation, and the representation in it isn't their entire personality. It's just one aspect of a very complex character. It's like, what? You mean they don't like walk in like, "Hi, this is my one defining trait." It's not written by a Western writer. It's written by someone who goes, here's a character. This is part of their personality. This is part of who they are. But here's all the other things they're dealing with because they're a complex character. It's like it's delicious. It's like like if they were to do a TV series of this, and where they just, I would be saying it'd have to be shot for shot. Literally, just replace it, like, because it's perfect. You wouldn't want to do it any other better. Combat wise, again, really, really enjoyed it. There's some really crazy. There's absolutely some crazy combinations you can do when you sort of get some of the powers that I have at the moment, which are just completely like fight started. I'm just like going, now how can I destroy you in the most efficient and like the most efficient way possible? As like going, and once you get one of the abilities ignite, and you basically can just like drag people into the area that you want them to die in, and it's just like the
Well,
great.
I think it's I have a game with it, and it's because I love the Devil May Cry series. Is they've incorporated. This is not a spoiler. What they did, and this was part of the Final Fantasy VII remake. Once you break a character's will bar, they then stagger.
Yeah.
Which means they don't attack back. So it's my competition with myself is to see the maximum, like what my highest number stagger damage is. And as Clive, yesterday I think I hit 26,000 something.
I got the achievement.
Okay, I'm trying for
60,000, and yes, I got it. And actually, I realized that there's a way I could do it even more to get actually even more if it had one difference. It's a specific. I won't spoil for you yet, Ryan. But there's a specific combination you can get later on, which is what I'm using, which basically is the most cheekiest thing in the universe. But it's what everyone does when they want to just basically see how much damage they could literally pour into an enemy. It's just absolutely fantastic. Again. Now,
well, I mean, I tell you the one thing that hindered me was I completely, for about 6 hours, completely forgot that I could upgrade abilities. So because I was so immersed in the story, I was like, and that's one thing that I hear a lot of people complaining about how easy it is. And that's one thing I regret is spending a lot of time grinding, because in this game you don't actually have to do that.
No.
What I have heard though is when you beat the game and you play New Game Plus, they enhance the difficulty.
Oh, everything gets much fucking harder. Yeah.
So but I'm enjoying it. I'm 26 hours in now.
Decent.
I'm doing every single side quest. So I'm literally doing every.
You don't.
I know you don't have to, but I have to. It's in my blood.
Yeah.
Now, I have to.
If you're not one of those people that have to do every single side quest, well, I'll just say one thing. Basically, speaking to Jamie, always do side quests that are from your people. So, like the people that you look after, those people. Random villages and things, you can probably skip those sometimes, but there are some, because if there are some absolutely key side quests, which I'm actually like going like, I'm online now, people saying these are not side quests, these are fundamental to the ending.
Yeah.
And like, why are these side quests? But and
that's the same with the hunts too. You if you want.
Yep.
Happen throughout the game, you need to do the hunts.
Yep, absolutely. Now, because Jamie's getting bored, but for now.
Well, that was our Final Fantasy talk for the moment.
And we'll go. You could have waited until next time, because next time I would have.
Oh, we will. Don't you worry about that.
No. It doesn't work that way. If you want to keep talking about it, I'm not going to talk about it until I finish it.
Anyway. I was trying to now move on to actually giving you a kudos, Jamie, a compliment.
Oh, okay.
I give so few out. What's that famous Dr. Cox line? Like the squirrel. You have to hoard these compliments for the sarcastic seasons that are coming up. On Jamie's recommendation, I added a show to my watch list called Sweet Tooth.
Yeah.
Now I saw the trailer and went.
He froze.
and froze.
And I froze. And I saw the trailer and I froze. And I saw the trailer and I was like going, another Netflix show with all their little messaging and their stupidness. And I was going, I'll skip that completely. Jamie was like going, oh, you got to watch it. I'm like going, yeah, sure, Jamie. I'll add it to my list. Blah, blah, blah. And then I was like going, you know what? No. If I want Jamie to enjoy things like Demon Slayer, One Piece, Rise of the Shield class heroes, Final Fantasy, I also need to take his recommendations at heart as well, because it's a two-way street of marriage. A good, solid marriage.
What was that second last one? Because you have never recommended that to me, whatever that second last one was.
Oh, that was just one I just threw randomly. Probably haven't recommended it to you.
Oh, no, you haven't.
Yeah, but like a good marriage, like all good marriages, it's about give and take. So he's recommended this show to me, so I actually watched it, and I have to say, I actually paused it and said, Jamie, is this a depressing show? Because I don't think I can handle that. And he was like, no, it's actually uplifting. And it was. And I'm glad I waited until there was 2 seasons because of the season 1 cliffhanger. If Jamie made me watch that and there wasn't a second season coming, I would actually have gone to his house and like literally murdered him.
Marriage over.
Well, not only, I think the reason is that it's based off an amazing comic by Jeff Lemire. 2, it's produced by Robert Downey Jr. and his wife, so you got more money behind that. And it's like that Netflix have actually done a really good job. I've read Sweet Tooth by Jeff Lemire a very long time ago. I think it's only 50 issues contained. It's a great story, and it's pretty accurate when you watch the show. It's a few minor changes, but it's pretty good to the source material, which is what we always say we want more of.
But the funniest thing, and I can now know why Jamie likes it so much. It's very obvious. Because when you watch it, you're watching this show, and you're like going, how could these people be so evil? Sacrificing children so they can extend their lives a little bit. Western civilization is based upon the idea that you are there to, the next generation will surpass you, and they will carry the knowledge onto you. What's that thing where you cut down a tree, nothing to live, but if you turn it into furniture, but if you let the tree grow, it branches out, and it's amazing. This is the cornerstone of Western civilization. And you're going, how can people be so evil? And then fires, and you're like going, well, now you're like going, well, yeah, okay, apparently they were ahead of their game. Now, speaking of the cornerstone of Western civilization, this podcast is brought to you by Rebecca Cassells and the Rising Dawn series, available on Amazon. If you like good literature, that at one stage, some people might call it, what's that word? Smut or romance drama or something, or many terms that female porn reading. Not really. I don't think I would use that one, but when you really think about it, it's these classic stories that will shape our society. So, do yourself a favor during this hard and trying times, and go on to Amazon and Kindle, and find your Kindle device that's probably currently using as a doorstop, probably, no doubt, or something along those lines, and download a book called The Rising Dawn series by Rebecca Cassells, and enjoy a truly monumentous film. Skeletor, what do you think? Well, it doesn't mention He-Man, or it doesn't mention any of my struggles in Eternia, but I do like the main character. I do believe he's gone with a Henry Cavill type. I do think you're right, Skeletor, absolutely. That is Rebecca Cassells, The Rising Dawn series. Purchase more, and then you'll finally have the knowledge of Grayskull and defeat He-Man once and for all. Thank you, Skeletor. Now back to the regular scheduled program. Jamie, what's on your mind?
What's on my mind? Well, you missed a real good segue there, which could have brought us into a topic that we want to talk about. But do we want to talk about our main topic, or do we want to talk about correcting IGN? Because I have another correcting IGN.
What our main topic is. So yeah, why don't we go?
Let's go with a good correction. I like a good correction.
Okay. Well, let's make it official. Now it's time for another installment of correcting IGN. This one probably won't need too much correcting, and I like look, if people are right, people are right.
Okay.
This is the top 25 best action films of all time.
Oh no! Oh, you're starting something early. Something early.
I know, but I'm going to say, in these 25, there are a lot of the positioning might be a bit different, but it's like they've hired someone with brains almost
Ooh.
But there may be corrected.
Okay.
Coming in at 25 is Winter Soldier.
Okay.
That's a great action flick.
Ooh.
I would still
Hey.
put it under the superhero banner though, not an action
Yeah.
film. Espionage, possibly.
Are you saying superhero
Okay.
movies aren't action?
No, they're their own kind of action, to be honest with
I
you.
would tend to agree that it's a genre within itself,
Yeah.
not necessarily the action genre. Like it's the
But
like,
look, it's a great movie, so I'm not going to say no.
no,
Yeah.
correct, yeah.
Well, I don't know. I can't. I should remember it better than I do, but like, there's not that much superhero in it other than Captain America, because he's super
Black
soldier.
Panther.
No, that's Civil War you're thinking of.
No, you're right. Yes, you are right. Yes.
But I mean, what they've done in that film, Winter Soldier, they've gone with they've tried to do more of a spy thriller kind of thing,
Yeah.
which maybe
Well,
puts it
Which
in-
essentially the Winter Soldier the graphic novel that it's based on it's written by Ed Brubaker, who essentially was like an espionage spy thriller
Yeah.
writer kind of guy. And no, look, I'll give it to him. That was the Russo brothers' first entry
Yeah.
into the episode, wasn't it? Yeah.
Yeah.
Fair call.
Yep.
One I've never seen called Triple R.
Oh, RRR, yes, fucking A.
R.
Now,
Never seen it. Never heard of it.
no, it's on Netflix, and honestly, you have to watch it because one, the bad guy is played by late Ray Stevenson, who, again, I'm not going to cry. Well, I'm going to move on from that. But it is cartoonishly violent, but because India it's the colonial Britain over in India. When they hired the British actors to play these things, they went, "Can you cartoonishly villain it up?" And they are twizzling mustache levels of evil, as in like, beat that Indian child with sticks. Yes, beat them with. It is over the top, but it's so beautiful because of it. It's just love. Yes.
So is that the Indian film, the Hindi film?
Yeah.
No, I won't be watching that. Sorry.
Why?
I just refuse to watch any of that garbage.
Oh.
It's just yeah, I'm sorry, it's just not my cup of tea.
It's an action film. It's not like a singing or dancing. It's a straight out like punching,
It's not
kicking,
Bollywood
violence. Yeah.
There's got to be some color bombs and singing in it though.
I don't recall it because it was so awesome. Because again, it was just basically like brilliantly good, and it was
Okay,
just
look,
awesome.
I'll make you a deal. I will watch it. If it is as good as you say, I will renege on my reluctance to watch these kind of films. I will watch it. Not watching it tomorrow because I'm watching Guardians of the Galaxy 3 tomorrow, but I will watch it this weekend.
Yep.
And I will talk about it on next week's episode.
You know, right? I'll do one. I'll go one step further. If I'm wrong, and you don't find the British people hilariously cartoonishly villainly evil on purpose, which is awesome. And if you don't see just the straight out if you don't have a little chuckle and say, so the message of this film is England bad. Okay, interesting. It's subtle. It's subtle. Like if you don't come up with the enjoyment, I will make Mike's D&D session painful on Saturday on purpose.
Wow. I'm watching it now. No, I hate it. I absolutely hate it.
No.
No, I will watch it on Sunday.
Yep.
And I will report back next week.
Excellent.
Moving
All right,
on.
Jamie, next one.
John Wick 4.
I still haven't seen it yet, but I
That's
will
a bit
agree.
low.
Haven't seen it, but I will agree that it's amazing.
I'll bet. Now, taking in mind that these are within the top 25, so
Okay,
Like-
you know what?
like I
Top
said,
25.
I-
Okay, yep.
I reckon it could be higher.
Yep.
Yeah. Fast 5.
Wrong.
Wrong. Isn't it supposed to be
Wrong.
the worst one?
Wrong. Okay, any of the Fast movies do not belong in this category.
Maybe they're talking about another Fast 5.
Isn't that right, Ryan?
I even watched the latest one. I was on the high seas about 2 weeks ago, and I loved it. So,
You mean part 1?
Part one of
the last one.
Fast X Part 1, yes.
They just won't let it go. All right, Casino Royale.
Not really an action film.
Yeah, no, again, it's spy.
Okay, what do you define as an action film? Because I define an action film any film with lots of action. You know that it's
it's specific. It's like no. James Bond's a spy film. Casino Royale is the most spying of all the films. Like the amount of action,
so there isn't much action in there.
There's action, but it's mostly a spy thriller. Like it's a specific kind of film.
Just like I would Fast and Furious, I would, even though I like the movie, it's a heist film. It's not really an action film.
Yep. And so Jamie, True Lies is an action film. True Lies is the greatest of True Lies stands upon its own shelf.
And now Jamie's going to tell us it's not even on the list.
If it's not on the list, I'm stopping now. I'm literally stopping now. If it's not on.
I haven't checked. What about IP Man? Because that's next.
IP Man.
Yep.
Yeah, IP Man. Yep.
No, you're wrong. That's a martial arts film, not an action.
But you know what?
See how it works?
No, if we're being picky, that's a fair call. It is a martial arts film. That's a fair call.
Just like if they had The Raid on this list, I would still say that's a martial arts film.
Yeah, no, Jamie, I stand corrected. You are correct. It is a martial arts film. It should not be on this list.
All right. From now on, we're gonna argue why all these films are not supposed to be on this list. The next one is Independence Day, which is actually a sci-fi. It's not an action film.
It's also a disaster film more than anything else. Yep. So I'm just
so we are correct. Again, we are correcting them.
Is it a disaster film when we win in the end? You know, it's a disaster that we
die, and a lot of places over the world are wiped out because of it. So I agree with
it also proves that Sydney is really the default capital of Australia.
100%, yeah,
because 100%. It showed all the capitals of the world.
Yeah, but who the fuck cares about Canberra?
The Pacific Rim did the same thing.
Yeah.
We had kaiju in Sydney Harbour.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't think people know that Canberra's our capital. I honestly don't think. Honestly, people think that Sydney. People think Sydney's the capital. I think people honestly think that. Because it is. There is only one city in Australia. It's Sydney.
I would say Independence Day is disaster movie / sci-fi.
Yep. Yeah, I agree. 100% agree.
It just means that Sydney will just get attacked first, you know?
Yeah, exactly.
And they'll have to go, whoa, the capital's down there.
Down there.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Well, it's actually technically, even though it's actually in the middle of New South Wales, it's still its own separate capital city. So go there first and then come and see us.
Then come back, yeah.
Go to Melbourne first, because no one likes Melbourne.
No one likes Melbourne, yeah. Go attack it. Go nuts.
All right. And the next martial arts film is Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon.
Again, martial arts film, also a Chinese tragedy, because there was a whole swath of these films in the 2000s where they're just horrible endings. Just basically like going, how can we make the film audience leave the film going, gee, I'm depressed? Like, it was a whole thing.
And then coming in after that, another one called The Raid.
Yeah, martial arts film.
Martial arts film.
Then a fantasy film called Lord of the Rings: Two Towers.
Fantasy, you're right.
What the hell is Lord of the Rings an action film?
Oh, my God.
Like, the others I can see, okay, yeah, the minds of wandering, but how the fuck? Ring, an action film. It's high fantasy.
Okay. Let me calm you down a little bit. True Lies.
Okay, no, you know what? Okay.
Didn't you
15.
say that? Didn't you say
15. Real 15.
15, yeah.
Oh,
I'm glad it's on the list.
Oh, but they obviously don't care about the Crimson Jihad. They obviously don't care about the greatest scene where the guy is giving his tirade and the camera guy has no battery in the camera, is too afraid to tell him that the battery's run out.
and the greatest pun in cinematic history, where the dude falls onto the rocket and Arnold Schwarzenegger goes, "You're fired."
That movie is just that movie stands on its own mountain. Like again, 15. Come on, top 5 easily. Just exactly. don't even like. Oh.
So will I skip over Empire Strikes Back?
Oh, my
get,
god!
no! That is a space opera. Like that is a that's not
Fantastic
oh,
film, but it's not an action movie.
oh,
IGN, get your shit together.
just shit together. Anyway,
I don't know what this one is, but it's called Hard Boiled.
Never
oh,
started.
it's yeah. So that one is Chow Yun Fat. So it's actually
Martial arts.
I'd say they use a lot of guns, but it is martial arty. So yeah.
Okay.
It's basically like it's John Woo. So like it's got the
Now,
pitch and-
I can't remember what this next one's called, but it's about a bus that has to speed around a city, keeping its speed above.
Well, look, I'm okay with speed because
Yep. Okay.
It's
Action
not-
film. Yep.
Well,
yep,
it actually
yep.
never stops, does it? Like it's action
No.
the whole.
Yep.
so
Action.
I'm happy with that. Yeah.
Is that above True Lies though?
No.
Like, come on.
Well,
like,
they probably gave it because of the Keanu factor.
sure.
The Rock.
Yes.
Oh, heist.
I think it's a
I'd say
combination of everything.
Oh.
Yeah, because it's essentially, I would essentially put it in the realm of prison movies, but
Prison Break movies. Yep. Okay, but you know what?
look, it's on a thin line. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like,
So I'll allow that one to say action. I'm okay
because
with
it's
that
a
one as an
great
action.
movie.
Yeah.
Oh, 100%. Mission Impossible Fallout.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Mission
that's an
Impossible.
action. That's an action. Like, yeah, that one they've gone fuck the spy shit. We're just gonna like.
To be honest with you, there's like the new one's just come out, and I think they said it's like the 7th film. Is it
Mhm.
still classified as a if they're 7? It's like mission just generically hard, not impossible.
Yeah.
Like,
And
there was a
that's a
whole
fair point.
as well. So I mean, how impossible were these fucking missions?
And let's not forget that Henry Cavill loaded his guns and grew a beard in the same scene.
I'll never forget that. That was amazing.
I've never watched. I honestly have not watched a Mission Impossible since 3.
Like, again, he loaded his arm guns and his beard grew. That's how manly he is.
He also punched a guy through a toilet wall. So that
Yes.
Well,
so
he's done that in multiple films. So
He does it every day. Like
that in The Man from U.N.C.L.E. as well. He punched
Yep.
a dude through a wall.
that's a
Now,
great
again,
film.
if he's
I
not
love
cast as James Bond, there is something wrong with the
I
universe.
know.
Did you hear that he already auditioned? Like,
Yeah.
like for when Daniel Craig went for his, and they
But-
said the only reason he didn't get it is because he was too young.
Like,
Well,
if he's
not
not
anymore.
James, like, that he's James Bond,
Yeah.
or there's no James Bond that never lived.
But would you want him to be James Bond in a world where they're going to mess with it? Because that's what Hollywood does.
Ah,
You know.
Well, I mean, look, I'm just going to say this: the original creator and writer of James Bond, they already have messed with it because he was incredibly racist.
true.
And
Oh yeah, but that's different. Like this is like, hey, give it to Disney. You know. There's one thing to modernize it a little bit and take out some of the stereotypes.
No.
But
At
I
this
feel
point,
like Cavill's a strong enough actor that he would be able to say, no, like let's, you know what I mean? Like I feel like he's got.
and people need to make money.
Yeah.
And so I think they'll probably just go with what works with money. Like I think they'll just like they're not Disney who goes, how can we lose all of our how can we destroy all of our property? How can we make our property how do we like our 9 years of box office dominance because of the Avengers and Marvel? How do we throw that in the toilet? How do we like again? You know what? Honestly, it takes so much skill to fail that much. I'm honestly thinking they're doing it on purpose at this point. I honestly think that there's no other way. You can't not do it on purpose. Like it takes so much skill to fail. So anyway.
They haven't done any. I can't remember the last time, aside from The Mandalorian, that I watched something on Disney Plus, movie associated with Disney that I enjoyed.
So people will say the Avatars are going, yeah, that was Fox, and they bought it from Fox. Doesn't count.
Yeah.
And to be honest with you, like there's been I know it's on Disney Plus now, the second one. Nothing's really pulling me to watch it. I mean, aside from seriously, The Secret Invasion, I'm one of those people who, no matter how bad I'll still watch them. I haven't watched any more after the first episode because it was so bad.
Yeah, I
It
haven't
just
I haven't even bothered to turn Disney
it
Plus
took a
on.
massive
Like,
shit on what
yeah,
Secret Invasion is. It was like a
Yeah.
Secret Invasion was a 6-month event throughout the Marvel comics back in
yep,
the 2000s, and they're turning into a 5-episode miniseries, which has little to nothing to do with the Secret Wars.
I know.
So, I'm just no, thank you.
Yep. All right, Jamie, continue.
Well, let me lift your spirits with RoboCop.
Yep,
Yeah, what's the original?
Yeah. Well, it says RoboCop,
Peter,
so
Peter Weller, yeah, cool. I'm
1987.
fine with that.
RoboCop.
then Predator.
Yep.
So I still say,
Come
I still,
me!
I still say, look, that again, it's on the border of sci-fi and action.
Oh no, I think it's pretty actiony. Like
I suppose
from,
because
from the handshake.
yeah, nothing really, nothing. Even though they are from outer space, nothing really takes place in outer space. So I'd say, yeah, action. Okay, I'll give you that.
Yep.
Movie I've never seen, Kill Bill.
Okay,
You've never seen Kill
in
Bill?
what universe is
No,
Kill
it's
Bill?
not an action. It's a martial arts film.
It's a martial arts film, but what universe is it above
Yeah.
RoboCop and
Yeah.
Predator?
Obviously,
in what
obviously
universe
this one.
is this?
In
I like
IGN's universe.
I like it, but there's no way that it's better than
No.
RoboCop and the original RoboCop and
Mm.
True Lies. It's not
Yeah.
better than that. Or even The Rock. It's not even better than The Rock.
Agree. Jamie, next one.
Okay, Matrix.
No, that's not
That'd
No,
be Star Wars,
Sci-
sci-fi.
sci-fi.
it's sci-fi, and also it doesn't belong as high as that is. No.
I don't know. It's pretty groundbreaking, but
A good movie, but it's not action.
how do you feel about Mad Max?
That's future. That's post-apocalyptic.
Tom Hardy.
Oh, the new one.
Yeah.
That's actually a specific style of movie, which is the journey, which is basically the journey of so that's a specific whole genre.
No, call me an idiot, but I didn't like that version. I didn't like it.
No,
The costuming was cool, so I think they probably gave it.
I put it this way: it's the post-apocalyptic Avatar. Looks cool, but
Yeah.
you've watched it. You don't need to watch it again.
And based upon this list, I can really see that the people who are doing this are visually just drawn to visuals, and like if the visuals are good, they're going, "Oh, that's top." It's like going, "Oh, get fucked."
Well, you know that the people at IGN don't really watch stuff. They watch enough so they can review it.
Yep,
You know?
I agree.
Basically, the trailer.
The trailer, yeah.
Yeah, and get notes. Aliens for number 4.
No, sci-fi.
Sci-fi.
All of that movie takes place in outer space, so I'm going to say that's sci-fi.
Hey, look, great cut. Love that film. Michael Biehn,
Yeah,
Bill
good film.
Paxton.
Yeah.
Cameron's finest work.
Yeah, definitely.
But sci-fi. Come on.
Sci-fi, yeah.
Raiders of the Lost Ark.
Yeah, it's action. That's probably that's very
that's adventure. It's not action.
I would say action/adventure, yeah.
Yep, action adventure.
But again,
And-
it's on the yeah.
Number 2, Die Hard.
Okay, yeah, I'll give it that.
Yep. Great film. Rightfully
Can
placed.
we all have a guess at number 1? Like, can me and Chris have a guess at number 1?
Okay. Number 1. What do you think number 1 is?
Just remember, it's IGN, so whatever you think is the worst movie in the action genre is probably going to be.
There is a surprising they have not mentioned any Stallone yet, which is a crime.
So you're
But
thinking
they've only
Rambo?
mentioned one Arnold, the king of action.
Yep.
I'm pretty sure he got hired on at Netflix as like the action coordinator now. I think like that's his literal title. Like
Fubar, yeah.
that was great. That was a great show. Like,
He's got
actually, if you like spy shows and a bit of like family drama and actually a little like a good time, like actually watching something that's enjoyable, it's basically like Fubar is basically. I know he didn't have the rights to True Lies, but it's basically that show is basically like, what if the True Lies character was getting old and his daughter also became a spy, but they didn't realize they worked for the same company until they ran on a mission when they ran into a mission with each other, and they're going, oh shit, like all this time you've been lying to mom. What about you? Like you've been like it's basically True Lies, but not True Lies. Like,
And isn't that really bad because there is a True Lies TV show?
I know, but Fubar is top shelf. Anyway,
I watched a few episodes. I sort of liked it, but I think the comedy was pretty bad. Like, it was just bad comedy. Like, I've seen better comedy.
it's
in
Arnold
those kind of
Schwarzenegger
shows.
comedy. Like, what do you expect from Arnold Schwarzenegger comedy? Like,
I don't know, something on the level of Jingle All the Way comedy.
okay, but like again, you can't
know,
go to his
good
wheelhouse.
comedy.
Again, that's unfair because he's done so many good movies. Like,
Yeah.
I'm gonna say Rambo.
no, because that's too good. It's gonna be a Schwarzenegger. I just don't know which Schwarzenegger they're gonna do though.
If it's IGN, it's probably Conan.
I
Jamie,
will
Jamie, what is it?
tell you this. It is a
Last Action
Schwarzenegger.
Hero. Last Action Hero.
Is that your final choice?
No, because they're dumb. Because they're dumb and stupid. They won't take any of the films where he's actually like a straight up action hero, like Last Action Hero.
Yeah.
They'll pick a sci-fi of his.
Total Recall.
No, that's too sci-fi. Terminator 1.
Terminator 2.
Are these your final choices?
Yep.
Gentlemen.
Terminator 2.
Lock it in.
Ryan has the winner.
Yeah.
Oh!
With Terminator, it had to be 2 because even 1 is fantastic. No one critic-wise ever admits that number 1 is just as good as number 2.
It is. It's just as good. Like,
And
maybe better.
Maybe we should have said Terminator Genesis. But no, I had to be T2.
Nah, that they wouldn't have gone Genesis. They would have gone. I reckon they would have gone the Christian Bale one.
I enjoyed that. Salvation.
That was good. I didn't hate that one. Yeah.
It had Sam Worthington in it as well.
Yeah. I actually did not hate that film. I think he was the right John Connor. I just wanted more laser guns and more like 80s, like basically like, and I say this now jokingly, but I would have loved to see that movie if someone else wrote the script and gave Taika Waititi to shoot it. I would have loved to have seen him basically do Thor, like Ragnarok style, like 80s music and laser guns in Terminator. I think that would be actually a good combination. Or James Gunn. Or just James Gunn do it.
In my opinion, it's T1, T2, Salvation, and the Sarah Connor Chronicles are the only interesting Terminator thing. Everything else is rubbish.
Yep, agree. 100% agree on that one.
Because Salvation,
you don't like
it had a good idea. It could have been better. It's definitely not the best, but it was the fact that we got to see the actual war a lot more. When I thought that was, but then and then when they ruined it with Genesis, where they made John Connor a freaking Terminator.
Yeah. But they kind of ruined the like, and not to be a Terminator purist on the law, but they did ruin a little bit of what made John Connor so awesome and special, because he was just like a soldier and he had to sort of work his way through the ranks, and it's because Hollywood doesn't know how to write. That's why they struggle with Superman, because they don't actually know how to write powerful characters, because they go like, but we have to give them, well, how do we do it? Like like the story that Carl Reese told of John Connor was humans were enslaved. Their job was to basically pick up the bodies of other humans and like push, clean up the cities and things. And then this dude shows up out of nowhere, like tearing down the walls and showing them how to fight and like doing all this crazy stuff and like hacking the robots, and they're going, what the and teaching them like the human spirit again. That's the movie I wanted to see. Basically, this dude just turns up and like running, like you imagine that these humans who are like staring at their feet, like in going off to be slaughtered. All of a sudden, this like the big grid fence goes down, and this guy starts running, Hood runs through. He starts like whips open like a hacking pad, and, like hacks a Terminator like on the spot, have it turn around like shooting things, and him having like move around fighting a Terminator like with his bare hands because he knows how they move, and then rescuing them and showing them how to fight. Imagine this kind of film. Like that is the film we wanted. We got a good film, but it wasn't that.
Yeah. So
but again, I am picking about my John Connor, and also because John Connor is awesome. And so
hear me out. Remember when someone did when Man of Steel came out and people said it wasn't colorful enough, and someone came along and just colored it?
Yes, it was awesome.
And it looks incredible.
Awesome.
Yeah. What if someone goes through and puts laser bullets into just same movie, but put lasers?
And put an 80s soundtrack behind it. You know what?
Yeah.
I think you might have a winner.
Why not? Yep. Oh,
yeah,
there you go.
I would love to see that kind of film.
Okay. Another round of correcting IGN. That was a great one. I thought it wasn't going to be that intense, but
But considering it's a list of 25 action films, I think there was like 3.
There was like 3 or 4 action films on there. And right, there was no Rambo.
Yeah, where's Rambo? Where's John Rambo? The original act that is action. But then I just have to keep remembering it's IGN, and yeah.
Yeah. I'm just surprised that those kind of films were on there. Some of those films, like.
I mean, Lord of the Rings, come on. It's The Empire Strikes Back. Are they just trying to fill spots?
I bet you they are, yeah.
I mean, they're fantastic films. I'm not knocking the films, but they're so far from action. Why don't you call like Marley and Me a fucking action
And
movie?
if they're going sci-fi movies, where the fuck is Starship Troopers? Yes. Yeah. Where the fuck is my Starship? You know what? And you know what? If they're going with fiction, where's Pearl Harbor? Because that was basically a fictional film.
We all know. At least we got the film that we wanted when we got Midway.
Oh, Midway! No, Midway was just mwah.
You don't have to live with what's the representation of film of Hollywood that we have of Pearl Harbor? This shitty little romance movie with Ben Affleck. We've actually got Midway, which is
the only thing accurate about Pearl Harbor was it was called Pearl Harbor and the Japanese attacked it. That's it. Yeah. There's your accuracy on Pearl Harbor.
Yeah. That's all you need, right?
Kaiju in there. I mean, that's how accurate it was.
I know. It would have been more accurate if they just went like it's morphin time. Actually, I would love to, again, if I had millions of billions of dollars, I would literally just reshot these films and then just out of nowhere just have them be like, it's morphin time, and then just turn to Power Rangers.
Chris, you could easily just do what the Kung Pao guy did and just superimpose yourself into the movie. And
no, I don't want to be the morph. I want literally Ben Affleck and the other guy to just be like, it's morphin time, and then like, just
and Matt Damon.
And Matt Damon, yeah.
You could do like the best one I think you could do is like finally do a movie of General Custer's last stand.
Oh yes.
And he's almost ready to be overwhelmed, just like Tyrannosaurus. And then you find out that Rita Repulsa's been controlling the enemy troops. And Goldar comes down or some shit like that.
No, but wouldn't you love to do like a War of the Worlds kind of film where it's like a serious war movie and like the aliens are winning, then all of a sudden you hear this and you see like this, and you hear the Power Rangers music go and these like 5 teenagers turn up and they morph and then they fight these aliens. Come on, like.
And they have to stick with the original law and have the stunt person that plays Trinity have a massive dong.
Yes. Trinity must turn into a well-endowed Japanese man. Having said that, all laughs aside, the fact that we're not gonna get ever like a Shattered Grid movie and like is an absolute fucking travesty, because Power Rangers series was awesome, but the Shattered Grid comics are just, like that is like basically like if I was to do Power Rangers, I can't like people say like, oh, if you were to do something, what would you change? I'll be like going, no. If I was given millions of dollars to do Power Rangers, I'd be going, we are doing Shattered Grid, shot for shot. Take every single panel you see and translate it into a film. No changes. No, it's perfect. You can't change anything with this because it's perfect. Again,
and that run by Boom Studios on Power Rangers, I've actually just started rereading it from the start again.
So good,
it's absolutely fantastic.
Fucking just like so the whole concept of just the Power Ranger soldiers, and then
the Death Ranger as well, which is absolutely amazing. It's just
the concept that they just took the idea of morphing the morphing grid into what they've turned it into, basically like it's just absolutely crazy. Jamie, I know you don't like comics so much.
I don't like comics. Yeah, me and Ryan do a whole new episode on comics.
Put it this way, Jamie. It's what Boom Studios did for Power Rangers, what IDW did for the Ninja Turtles.
Yeah,
that run.
Agreed.
It's just
you know what, Jamie? We need to find you You know, I'm gonna
Get it for him
find.
for Christmas. Get it. The Shattered Grid trade is already out. So
Yeah. I'm actually just gonna probably for Christmas, Jamie. I'm just gonna get you.
Please don't make me like Power Rangers. It's bad enough I like Star Trek.
no,
All
no,
right?
it's seriously,
No.
seriously.
Trust
this
me.
is not the Power
This
Rangers that
is
you know.
Yeah, this is fucking just like this is what this. No, Jamie, this is what would happen if you and I made Power Rangers.
Yeah.
Like, if again, if a studio came
So
to us and said,
I'd sit back and let you do it all because I don't like Power Rangers.
and you take the credit, it's fine.
But
Okay, all
trust me,
good.
this is even like starting from. It's only I think it's about 7 years old. The run it's up to issue 100 at the moment. It hasn't had a bad issue. It's not like they use the same characters, you know, but it's almost on par with adaptations to the IDW Turtles series.
Yep. And Lord Draken is just basically one of the coolest villains of all time. Like he's just so cool. Like he's just.
I've got a really good series for you, Ryan. It is Bollywood, sure, but it's comic form. You know, and there's all the jingly and the you know. Look at your face. You're doing my face. Oh
no, the Jamie's like going, the Jamie face. Going, why can't I get past the first date? But it's every time the girl says something that he disagrees with, he does the face like the. And it's, oh man, why is it failing?
And like I said, why do you think I want to get past the first date?
Okay, look on this note, and I know this is going to be a good segue. Chris, you need to watch season 3 of Superman and Lois.
Oh, yeah?
100%, yeah, 100%.
I didn't see. Like Jamie knows what I'm talking about. I did not see that coming, and it is the most comic accurate version of this villain I have ever seen.
Okay.
And we have seen 4 iterations of this villain throughout, like Smallville movies and all this kind of thing. That was like when it happened, I was like,
I could not believe that Condiment Man turned up.
No, I know, Condiment Man, seriously.
Yeah. He's supposed to be a Batman villain, but man,
but not Pharaoh, not King Tut. Oh,
I was watching the episode unfold, and it was like real time messaging Jamie saying, "Have you watched this yet?" And he's like, "Yes." And I was like, holy shit!" Like, yeah.
More so on that final shot. Not to spoil anything, but that final shot. Imagine if they didn't get season 4.
with the I was thinking about it after I watched it, so. You can tell that that's where they had a backup ending because look, I know it would be horrible, but that if they ended it like that, I've seen shows end like that. Okay, cool, fair enough. But now that we're getting a season 4 and we get to continue on that moment.
I know my Superman lore.
Okay.
The only time you Ryan would say that sentence is if they did Death of Superman because of Doomsday. Don't you question my Superman lore? Like, don't you dare question my Superman lore.
Look, okay, I'm just going to say one thing, guys. If you haven't watched it, please stop now because I'm just going to say one thing that's going to ruin it. Pause it now. Come back in about 5 minutes' time, and pause it now. Okay, the final scene. Superman is fighting Doomsday on the fucking moon. On the moon, and the final scene is them jumping, launching at each other, and fists connecting.
Oh,
and Rocky freeze
frame and oh shit. Okay, you know what?
The way they do Doomsday, I'm not going to spoil that for you because of how you don't see it coming.
Now, here's a question: does he look like a Ninja Turtle?
No, he looks like Doomsday.
Okay, good. All right.
And it's awesome because Lex Luthor essentially creates him. But the flashback scenes that you see of what Lex Luthor does, and that's when I got the first inkling of holy shit, this is going to be Doomsday. Because if you know the Doomsday lore, he's basically like there was an X-Men villain, a really bad representation of an X-Men character called Darwin. So every time he was killed, he came back with a way to not be killed the same way again.
Yep.
And that is Doomsday. In the comics, that's always been Doomsday. You can kill him once, he'll come back, and you can't kill him that way again. Yep. But he comes back stronger every time. But how he starts, he gets there is just
okay. I've been meaning to pick that show up again after, so I think it's because I was a bit concerned. Like my main reason why I wasn't watching it because I thought it'd go too. I thought it was going to just like Arrow broke my heart.
I know.
More
Yep.
like in more like, season 1 of Arrow was just mwah.
Yep.
So I was afraid that like this would do the same. So
No. It's gotten better. It's gotten better.
Mhm.
There are several moments in this season that really do pull on your heartstrings. I'm not gonna lie. It gets you in. There were some moments where I could feel myself almost getting emotional, and
Yep.
that's okay because I was emotionally invested in these characters. But seriously, that it was already at a 10, and that last episode, the finale, took it to a 15 for me.
Oh, okay. You
It
know what?
just shot my. I'm enjoying it. I'm watching it. Like I would build it up. I would watch 2 episodes at a time so I could enjoy it
So
like that.
Ryan, you
And
mentioned that there was a certain high seas websites where I could stream TV series. Is that
yeah. Look, I'll forward that on to you. That's not a
all right?
problem. But it's definitely it's season 3 is finished now, so it's probably a good time to watch it
Yeah, perfect
because you
time
can
to
watch it
to,
all
to
of it.
stream on a certain, if a certain high seas website is available for streaming, then I might be able to then partake
I
in
will
it.
definitely. I've got it saved on my tablet here. I will message it to you after the podcast.
Outstanding.
But yeah, so seeing as I believe that's what our main topic was going to be anyway. I thought that'd be a
Superman.
great segue.
Yeah.
All right, yeah, sorry, Jamie. Speaking of segues,
Yeah. Well, look, I watched James Gunn's recent interview on Michael Rosenbaum's
Yep.
podcast. If you know Michael Rosenbaum, he is Lex Luthor from Smallville.
apparently they're friends. Apparently that's how he met his current
Yeah, well,
girlfriend or wife. Yeah.
I watched another episode with Nathan Fillion.
Yeah.
And Nathan Fillion and Michael Rosenbaum were both going to James Gunn's wedding, and they were discussing what they were going to buy him as a wedding gift.
I think, and Michael Rosenbaum was an amazing Lex Luthor, like for the young
Oh,
Lex
100%.
Luthor. I really, he was one of my favorite parts of the Smallville show. So like,
Well,
I was.
James Gunn actually said to him that he was the best Lex Luthor. You know, and then
and you know what? I would agree because I don't know what kind of Zuckerberg Lex Luthor they're trying for, and like,
yeah, well, funny because in that interview, Michael Rosenbaum said to James Gunn, like, knowing that he's going to do Lex, and he's like, just promise me it's not going to be. And he wasn't saying Jesse Eisenberg, but he was hinting at it, saying not that, you know.
Well, trust me, Chris, when you watch Superman and Lois season 3, that's a Lex Luthor I can get behind.
Yeah.
The guy that plays him was Abraham in The Walking Dead, and he's been in a lot, and you don't picture him as Lex Luthor. And then in the space of the last 3 episodes of season 3, he had me hook, line, and sinker.
Yeah.
And he's a more sadistic, fucked up Lex Luthor. So,
but the thing about Lex Luthor that I think people forget is in a lot of the Superman editions, he runs for president of the United States, and
100%.
he doesn't win. He doesn't win because of
yeah.
trickery and chicanery. He wins because he's smart, intellectual, and puts forward good points. Like this is the kind of guy that people look and go, well, he has fought Superman 70 million times, but you know what? I like his reform on taxes. Vote.
Look, I think that's a good thing about Superman and Lois. He's been in jail for 17 years because Lois Lane put him away, and he dealt with Superman, and he knows. And I think that's why I like this show so much, because it's not an origin story.
No,
it's you're thrown in 20. He's been Superman for 20 years. He's got kids. He's married. You know what I mean? Like this Lex Luthor is just like he's been sitting in jail for 17 years, and he's only been thinking of one thing.
Yeah, I can respect that, and looking forward to it. So, Jamie, what were you saying?
Yeah, the point was I was watching the James Gunn interview and learning more about like how James Gunn operates and how good he is of a director he is. It's a team effort. Like he's constantly films things and says, "Hey guys, check the." He'll ask like an assistant, like, "What do you think of this?" And it's like a real collaborative effort.
Yep.
Which makes me, trust him taking on DC, which will bring us to our next point. He's recently announced the casting of the new Superman and Lois.
Yeah, Superman and Lois casting, yes, beautiful. Now
David Corenswet, I've never heard of him.
I call him Cavill 2.0.
Yeah, yeah. Well, because everyone's going like he looks.
He does look a little. No, sorry, not a little. He basically looks like a younger Henry Cavill. Like if
So
Henry
basically
Cavill was a younger, he looks
I
like
feel
He
Henry
looks
Cavill.
like a little Cavill.
Well, I feel like James Gunn has got like a cloning like a cloning set up in his garage. He's reached the 22-year-old migration. We must release the Cavill and give him a new name.
Yeah.
But yeah, look, he definitely looks like he looks like a Superman, and he's got the jawline, he's got the like that look.
And he's got the height. He's 6'4".
Yeah.
I've never seen him in anything. Don't no idea who he is. But like I said, I trust James Gunn. Like a lot of people aren't at the moment because with this whole Flash thing, like no one's watching the movie.
Apparently people that are watching it it's horrible. They say it's horrible.
Apparently, it's not like it feels like it's not even finished. You know,
Yeah.
I've heard the CGI is just basically just like they did that over a weekend, like just literally just like slapped it together and went. But I mean that also makes it feel like because of the studio had sort of relationships with some of these actors in the films that they released it because they had relations with those actors.
Yeah.
If they didn't have relationships with those actors, they would have been like, shelf it, kill it.
Shelve it, yeah.
So they basically went into that film saying like, we're not spending any more money than this. Like, get it out the door.
Right. And even James Gunn has kind of said, look, Blue Beetle, even though it wasn't done under him, he's going to be the first of the new era of DC Comics because he was so impressed with it and he feels it fits into his story. So
okay, cool.
So basically the Flash is the last of the
old,
even
old.
even the old guard, even though it's not part of the Snyderverse, it's the last of the that era of DCU.
Well, that's pretty interesting because I also remember another terrible film that was the last of the Fox. X-Men, the Phoenix. I think there was one good scene.
I've never seen it because I'm a man of principle.
Magneto pulling the helicopter.
How are you a man of? Yes, Ryan. That's what it was. No, you see, the difference is X-Men was part of my childhood. I felt, look, I love this new cast, even though this writing wasn't always great. I felt I owed it to the people that gave me such joy. Even if it was going to be shit, it was me seeing them one last time.
I felt I owed it to people not to watch it to tarnish the legacy of the characters I love so much, and so I took a different route than you did. How did you know?
How did you know it was tarnished if you never watched it?
Because when they said
because
it was
I read scripts before they even come out.
Because as soon as they said who was making the film, the same person who made the last piece of shit movie, what did they think was going to happen?
Is that like how the new that new Barbie film, whatever it is, the director of that has been given Narnia?
Yes. What do you think is going to happen to someone who basically is anti-creationist? What do you fucking think she's going to make?
I know, it's going to be hilarious.
Like, again, but we're talking about happy things. We're talking about the new Lois, Rachel Brosnahan. Now, Lois Lane, if anything, is a smartass, and she needs to come across as a smartass. She just did Miss Mabel's, where she was a professional stand-up smartass, and so I think she has the right wit about her to do that sort of smart, like basically just being like to be a true journalist, to chase down the hard lead stories and not
be afraid of anything.
Exactly, not be fearless, chase down the stories, not just write like your 10 best outfits this summer BuzzFeed kind of articles. She's supposed to be a real journalist, so I think that's definitely the right casting.
So you've seen her and stuff before?
Yes. The Marvelous Mrs. Maisel, which is on Amazon. And she's in the 60s, and she's trying to break into being a stand-up comedian in the 60s as a female. So, like,
oh wow,
so all of the 60s sexism, and like toots jokes you could think of, yes, they're all there. But actually, it's a very good show. So, like, was it the 60s or the 30s? It's set in the 60s or 30s. I think it's set in the 60s. Hang on, when's it set? I think it's set in.
Look, I guess I haven't seen any of them in anything, but. Jamie, you hit the nail on the head. It's basically In Gun We Trust. I haven't seen a bad James Gunn movie in a very, very long time.
And on that, it's the only recent Disney film that's made some money, which is basically The Guardians 3. So
Well, look, I've
maybe.
even gone back and watched, he's got a couple of really good horror movies like Slither, which it's got a like horror comedy. It's got Nathan Fillion, he's the usual Michael Rooker, although another film called The Belko Experiment, which was kind of a horror kind of vibe. Then he did that weird take on like what if Superman was evil with Brightburn, which was fantastic. And then Guardians. And look, even if you want to go back to Scooby Doo, look at the casting. Just look at the cast. Matthew Lillard as Shaggy. You cannot cast that. The only other casting that comes close to being accurate is Robert Downey Jr. as Tony Stark.
Yep. Now, one important question that we haven't yet figured this out. Is James Gunn going to be sensible with the costume and just do the blue suit, as with maybe some highlighted red belt sort of scenario, that kind of thing, or is he going to put him in the trunks on the outside because he's an idiot? This is again like, and I know that I've heard people say it's traditional to do. It's like going, it's just it was a strongman outfit back in the era when they were doing it because they wanted to show people's underwear, but they also were from like the 50s and 60s where you couldn't show people's underwear. So if they were on the outside, you could imagine their nakedness. It's like going, it doesn't fit in any sort of modern Superman that you would do. Like it just no.
I think. Look, I think James Gunn has, with his work on Guardians of the Galaxy, he has the ability to keep tradition but give it a more modernized version.
The costumes in that were fantastic.
Yeah.
So I like
and there was enough, especially if you look at Star-Lord. Let's take Star-Lord, Peter Quill for example. He had that going back all the way back to the early 80s when this concept was dreamed up. He's got elements of the original Star-Lord suit and the mask, but he's just given it a more modern look without disrespecting the source material. So I think that's what we're going to see. I think we're going to see a pretty accurate Superman costume, but I think he's also going to give it a bit of a modern look.
Speaking of costumes, what did you feel about James Gunn's decision on Gamora's costume not having Zoe Saldana's boobs just hanging out there for the universe? Now,
yeah, no, because we're all used to we're all used to objectifying women in terms of that. Yeah. In terms of like, I read comics all through the 90s where you couldn't have a female either villain, hero, heroine that did 44 double Ds, but look, covered by a tiny little skimpy outfit.
In the comic books' defenses, the men were just as fucking jacked as the like.
Yeah.
And I've actually heard a comic artist say this. I've actually heard a comic artist like defend himself on this, and I actually agree with him. It's like going, no, yes, the women were sexy, but so were the men because these were the pinnacle of. We drew them as basically this is the pinnacle of human. Like this is like the perfect human. And
yeah, definitely.
It's like yes, you could see potentially some cleavage, but that dude's costume is so tight you could see like all of his package. And if you've read any Image comics of the 90s. The amount of packages were there, like just.
What I'd like to do is I'd like to give our listeners a bit of homework. Google Captain America Rob Liefeld, and you will see Captain America's chest is out to about here. It's insane what they used to do in the 90s and the early 2000s.
All Image comics, basically, just look at all the Image comics, and also just Google Wildcats or Gen 13, and just
exactly,
and just marvel at basically this. They're basically this is what a human is at its peak.
But look, I think that we're at the stage where, we especially with comics, I haven't read any recent DC or Marvel probably for the last couple of years, not just because I haven't had time, but I'm catching up now. And they're being a lot more respectful when it comes to. Hey, look, let's not have Norgs out all the time for the women. Let's not have massive packages for the gentlemen. That you gotta think like it's got to be practical. You know what I mean? You used to see all these superheroes running in, and we just know that that's not practical at all.
It's ankle breaking material.
Exactly.
For sure.
But I think James Gunn. If you look at the costumes in Suicide Squad, I mean, he really went balls to the wall on his Suicide Squad. He doesn't care how insane they look. They still came out. It still came across really well in that film.
And I really liked. Yeah, actually, all of the Suicide Squad costumes, I thought they all looked fantastic. I thought I thought they did really well. And again, if he can make Polka Dot Man look somewhat respectable, then he can do a Superman costume.
Definitely.
So
Yeah.
I'm not worried about that. I just like, again, there's a lot of people need it saying you should go back to the trunks because it's traditional. I'm like going, you know what? You know what also was tradition? Women not voting. But again, we've moved past this. Like we've moved past as a society, we've moved past certain things that were going. It's tradition. Like, come on, let's just.
Yeah, but look, back in the time where Superman was used to have two different entrances, one for the white people and one for the African
Yeah,
Americans.
exactly. Yeah. But also, let's be honest. Back then, Superman's powers were very specific. Faster than a speeding bullet, more powerful than a locomotive, could jump very high.
Buildings in single bound.
He's much more powerful now than he was then.
Yeah, he's only got this attack once per a week or something. It's just called the solar flare, where he just literally absorbs the entire sun.
Now,
and it actually makes him mortal for a day.
Yeah, but back in the that era, right? This is the thing I remember the most from some old black and white TV show. Is all the windows were conveniently at a certain height for him to be able to jump out of at any time he wanted to.
Now, I will say this about James Gunn's film about Superman, and look, if I sound passionate because Superman is my like this is my one B to my Luke Skywalker.
There goes your hero.
And so, if I don't get a movie where they've found some way to block out the sun, and there's a weakened Superman and he's mortal, but he's still trying to fight, and then because of I don't know, Lois Lane's due to something where they sort of break the sun blocking thing, and then you see that ray of light hit him, and he starts rising up with his power. If I don't get that moment where he's like basking in the sun of energy and like and you hear that like heroic music, they're going, "You failed, and you've not given me the Superman movie we all fucking want to see.
So
we want to see that."
So basically, that scene in Man of Steel when he first flies, like where his fist,
when he puts the
hand on the ground. Yeah,
you know what? I again, and this is like the anime in me. They failed in that scene so fucking badly. Not like that scene where like that thing's hitting him, like and he can't get up. He's struggling on the ground because the gravity's pushing him down. And like at that moment, there was a perfect moment to do a flashback to that scene where he's in the closet with his parents, and he's like when he says to his mom, "It's too many sounds. Like it's too noisy," and she's like, "No, just focus on me. Focus on my voice, and picture yourself on an island." You do that flashback, and you have him like then focus in, and then you have him like burst up through. That changes that makes that scene so much more fucking epic. And I'm going, James, but you know what? James Gunn watches anime. I'm almost certain of it. I'm pretty sure I'm gonna get that fucking moment. I'm almost like.
I recently read an interview with Jim Lee, who is current like head of creative at DC and a famous Superman, Batman writer. He's done everything. And he said, look, the way that I define a good Superman film is if Superman punches at least one bad guy into the sun, it's a good Superman movie. And I happen to agree with Mr. Lee on that.
And again, I love. Look, I'm also one of those controversial people that actually liked in the comics in the New 52 where they had Superman and Wonder Woman get together for a little bit, like. But I understand that most people like the fact that, and I do understand that Lois is his sort of like tether to humanity. What's stopping him basically going, "You're all so stupid. I'm just going to rule you like gods because you're all so stupid." It's that there's few things holding him down to humanity, and and Lois is absolutely one of them. Snyder sort of got it, but he didn't quite. He just he was almost like the idea was in his head, but didn't obviously quite grasp that. But again, James Gunn, he would get that. He gets that. He again, so many moments that in Guardians 3 I'm going, you watch anime. I can just fucking like all these moments I'm going like, yeah, you like even in the moments where like the character's gonna die and then all of a sudden there's a giant flashback and it's like of them in the afterlife going, no, it's not your time yet. Go back. It's like going, you've watched so much anime, James Gunn, and you know what? I appreciate that and I love that. And Ryan, when you see it tomorrow, you're gonna message me going, yeah, what do you think James Gunn's favorite anime is? Is it a question mark you're gonna ask?
I think, like a lot of people, including I can safely say, including the three of us, is we just want a DCU of the caliber of what the MCU was, and I think now that they've finally gotten some brains and gone, look, this is what's working at Marvel. let's get the guy, one of the main contributors and who is responsible for this, to start building the unit. And clearly they're doing it the right way, because it's, as you said, Superman Legacy is going to be a younger Superman. We don't need to have the old dark and gritty. It crashes in between him now and his life in Smallville, which I think it's a fantastic idea, and it's loosely based on the All-Star Superman comics. So you know, if you want to get a little bit of info, grab that. But yeah, look, I'm excited. I'm excited for, you know, for the Brave and the Bold, obviously, where we're going to get some father son.
Look,
Batman.
I'm actually very looking forward to seeing Dave. Like, and I want him to go deep into the backstory of how he came into being.
How he was, and so Chris basically wants them to talk about how Talia raped Bruce Wayne.
But again, the funniest thing about, again, and again, this is actually, no, I won't say it because we will get cancelled. But like, if you look at, okay, and actually, I'll let Jamie decide to leave this in. You look at Talia, and the Batman's like, oh no, how terrible! I got to hit that. Oh my god, what a terrible scenario. Oh, anyway, like like again, yes, she used some drugs to make him think she was. I can't remember what she did. I think it was like a spell or drugs, and it just
it was a potion that basically reduces inhibition, essentially a roofie.
But I mean, so that's not as bad as it sounds. It sounds bad, but it's not as bad as it sounds. Like, because, you know, he obviously, like, I like to think that the drug did absolutely nothing on him, because he's Batman. He knew exactly what he wanted to do. He's like, yeah, my one excuse, my one like moment where I can just go, oh, wasn't me.
We all know that they're not going to do that.
Of course not. Of course not.
They're not going to do that. But
they'll probably do something like they went to school together, or he was traveling and they met together. He didn't know who she was. They had probably a night together. She disappeared.
Or they might do the whole, they were, you know how you see so often, you see in comics and in movies and stuff, you know, they're mortal enemies, but they by day they're fighting each other, but then there's that passion behind it, and they just have, you know, they call a parlay or something, and then they just do it. And then and they regret it, and then Damian gets raised. I want to see Damian raised for the first 8 to 10 years in the League of Shadows, like he was in Grant Morrison's run, Batman and Robin. So
I definitely want to see, like, I really want to see just basically the viciousness of Damian, like when Batman first fights him. I want to see, like, Batman trying to teach him, like, hey, not everything's a killing goddamn blow. Like, you know, like
that wasn't an instantaneous thing. That took years. That took 4 to 5 years before Damian. And there were times where he actually did. He killed.
Oh yeah. Straight out killed people.
You know, he just like, well, why? They're just going to keep coming back. And then it even makes Bruce think for a little while. You know, for probably about 30 seconds. But it's an inward reflection. He's like, he's right. How many lives
times Joker's got it out again?
How many thousands and thousands of people has the Joker killed because Batman just puts him away and he gets out again?
You see, as I like to say in that scenario, fool me once, shame on me. Fool me 36 times, those deaths are on you, Batman. Those deaths are on you.
So, and then the Damian's just kind of seeking it logically. He's like, well, if I kill this guy now, that's one death, and that's me. But if I don't kill him now and I lock him away and he breaks out and kills another 100 people next time, those deaths are on me. So I'd rather take one over 100. And when you think about it, he's not all wrong.
And he's taking the sin upon himself, staining his soul to save others. And that's what Batman's trying to do, but just obviously he also doesn't want to stain his soul.
That's what the League of Shadows was all about. Even in Batman Begins, you get that with Liam Neeson as Ra's al Ghul. He said, look, Gotham needs to be cleansed. Because look, it's just going to keep going down, and more people are going to die and suffer. We're going to cleanse it and start again.
Yep.
You know, they think that they're the hero of their own story, but you know what I mean. They just take it to the, and that's why I hope we get that Damian, because the Damian in the comics reflects that so perfectly. When he's like, "Well, I just killed this guy. He could kill 100 more."
Yeah.
There's one death versus one versus many. So,
given how that's what they're doing, you know that he's thinking about that. Like, for sure.
I hope so. And look, there's been a lot of talk. Like I follow Jensen Ackles on pretty much every platform. Like I don't have Twitter, but I do follow him on Instagram and Facebook and all. And he has been doing a lot of petitioning to become Batman under the gun universe. And I think he's voiced Batman several times in the animated stuff. In the Long Halloween, he was Batman, and in the upcoming new DC animated movie, he's voicing Batman again. He's doing a lot of petitioning to try and get in that role.
I think he'd do. Honestly, I think he's like, if they're doing like a Batman with a son, I think he's the right age for what they would go
he's
for.
clear. Well, I think he's just turned 40, or he's just over 40.
Early 40s.
Yeah. So it depends on how they're going to go. If they're going to go with like an older Batman with Damian Wayne, or if they're just going to have like a Batman in his 30s, and then they might go younger. But who knows?
But because you're right. Yeah, I mean the Superman they cast is 29, so they're obviously thinking, I'm going to cast him as a 29-year-old. We're going to get 5 films out of him, so by the time he's done, he's going to be like.
That's smart thinking. It's smart thinking, because you don't want to have to keep. You don't want the curse of the Batman where you have to keep changing Batman, every couple of movies, or every 2 movies.
Don't hire Ben Affleck, then you're fine. Then you just.
But yeah, we'll see. We'll see what happens anyway. But I'm excited. I'm looking forward. I'm happy with the casting. I haven't seen any of them, so I'm looking forward. Well, I think we'll get a better idea once we get a trailer. I think we'll probably get one, if not the end of this year, early next year. To see, because is it slated for 2024 or 2025?
It might be 2025.
Yeah, I think it's. We should expect the trailer. I would say.
Yeah, 2025 is when it's slated to come out.
I would hope we'd get one early next year. But we don't know how they go. Like some movies,
but James Gunn has said he's not going to put 80s songs in Superman Legacy, and I'm like going, no, dude, like, no. Stick to your wheelhouse, buddy. Like, if you,
Okay, would you want 80s music or a John Williams level score?
No, look, honestly. The one thing I love about Superman, the Cavill Superman, is the fucking Hans Zimmer score. Like that score is beautiful. That score is like, people said they didn't like it. It's not as good as I'm like going, no, it's better. Like when you see the Superman, you hear the when he rises up, it's awesome. That is like honestly one of the better scores for Superman and
even the score from Superman and Lois is pretty.
Oh no, that is also just like mwah. That is just a beautiful score. Like again,
that's the best thing CW has turned out in a long time.
When you're doing a Superman thing, and the orchestra turns up, and you see say 4 or 5, 6 cellos and only 5 violinists, you need to say like, whoa, you're missing 24 more of these guys. Go get me 24 more cellos and violins, and then come talk to me about a Superman score. Like, again, that's just a minimum standard of a Superman score, is you need at least 24 violinists and celloists. Actually, no. Maybe even more than that. Like, you need a lot of them, though. Like, this is a key element.
The Ron Swanson level?
Yes.
I don't think you understand. Give
me all your violinists
and cellos.
Yeah. What do you mean? Like, a lot? No, not a lot of violinists and cellos.
Oh.
Give me all. Like, again, then you can score a Superman soundtrack. Like, then you can score it. Oh, look, I've never been more, honestly, like, I don't think in my life I've never been more excited and nervous at the same time than I am about this fucking movie, because, oh, good God. Like,
because we've been there, we've been excited. Like, I was excited when Man of Steel was coming out, and that's a great film, but then again, fizzled off, you know what I mean? Like, towards the end, like, we got Man of Steel, which was great. We got Batman vs Superman, which was good. We got then we got the Snyder Justice League, which was fantastic.
The Snyder cut, yes.
Yeah, that's what I mean, the Snyder cut. But then again, that's just like the curse of, and then we got Aquaman, which was fantastic as well. So I'm going to say, but it just keeps, they seem like they get to where we're like, okay, yes, this is working, and then something happens, and then it just, You know what I mean? Like Shazam, the two Shazam movies were enjoyable. You know what I mean? Like
Popcorn, but fun popcorn flicks. I like them both.
yeah, me too. I enjoyed them both. They were good movies. There was not a part where I wanted to turn it off. But do I feel like I need to watch them again as often as I watch Man of Steel and the Nolan trilogy?
But I think that comes down to the character, though. Like, I mean,
But also that, like, if you're also not being tied into Black Adam, you also have a problem. And again, this is the whole Rock and whole.
Well, see, the Black Adam, and me being, as I said, I've completely gone off the Rock in the last few years. But I mean, me being the fan of the Rock, I've watched it once in the movie, and I had no real desire to watch it again with you gentlemen because some of you hadn't seen it, and that was it. And then, yes, I was excited about Henry Cavill appearing at the end, but then, so I was let down again. So, but again, Batman was just, it was an okay film.
Yeah, but I think it comes down to the fact that The Rock and Brendan Fraser cannot exist at the same time.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
No, I agree.
Now that Brendan Fraser's back, sorry, Rock, you got to go.
But I guess the question is now going to be like, and everyone's now moving on to like, is Jason Momoa going to be Aquaman in James Gunn's universe? I'm actually leaning more towards no than I've ever been before in my life that he's going to be another character. Mm-hmm. And the main reason is because apparently Jason Momoa hates working out, like, with a passion. And if you look at him now in say the latest Fast movie, compared to the shape he had to be in for Aquaman, where it basically had to be like the shape he is now is the more comfortable what he wants to look like now.
Yeah.
But that does not look like what Aquaman needs to look like. So it's like.
And what I must say about his character in Fast 10 is my favorite Fast and the Furious villain, to be honest with you.
Oh, yeah?
He really, Jason Momoa made that movie a lot more watchable than I thought it was going to be. At this moment with Fast movies, I mean, I call it the How I Met Your Mother curse. I'm in too far. I can't stop, and
you
now
can't
stop. I have to finish it. But honestly, Jason Momoa was as demented and you're having conversation with corpses, and it was fantastic. I've never seen Jason Momoa like that before, and I thought, oh wow, okay.
And that's why he's going to make a fine Lobo, and that's why he's going to make an absolutely fine Lobo in Superman. Like I think that he's going to be an absolute there could be other characters he could play as well, not just Lobo. But I mean,
I think he'd make a great King Tut. Just saying.
I mean, throwing it out there, him as Ra's al Ghul. I mean,
sorry,
no,
really?
No, I look. Ra's al Ghul needs to, and this is nothing.
Once you've had Liam Neeson,
he needs to. He's Ra's al Ghul's not so much about power, actual physical power. He's a strategist. He is he's an intelligent man. And I'm not saying Jason Momoa, but when I look at Jason Momoa, I either see Lobo or Craven. That's all I see.
Oh, he would have been a great Craven.
He literally looks like Craven. He wouldn't even lion mane suit because he could just use his freaking hair. But I see Ra's al Ghul as someone. Yeah, I mean Liam Neeson was perfect. Liam Neeson was 100% perfect. For Ra's al Ghul, and I think we need someone like that.
But I think
if they're going to go that route.
I honestly think it's been right under our faces this entire time.
Cat Graham.
Well, obviously, I want Cat Graham to be in some part of the James Gunn universe. I go back and forth on which
Catwoman
character she should be. I'm like Black Canary, maybe. I wouldn't mind her seeing her as Zatanna as well. There's a few characters like that. I'd say probably.
I literally just Googled her for the first time today, and I saw what she looks like for the first time today.
Are you serious?
I'm dead serious. I Googled her, and I'm just like,
oh,
I can't see her as any DC villainess. I'm sorry, I just can't.
What I was going to say was, why Jason Momoa, if he's not playing Lobo, should be playing Vandal Savage.
Yeah, 100%. 100%.
and be the absolute arch villain of the entire
Yeah.
of the Gunverse, like as Vandal Savage. Like, yes, I think that's the role. If
Yeah,
he's not going to come
100%.
back as Aquaman, him coming as Vandal Savage is
Yep.
that's the role.
Yeah, Vandal Savage, an immortal, immortal villain, and he's got the build, he's got the look. Yeah, for
Yep.
sure, 100%.
Vandal Savage, there it is.
And look, that was one of the few good things about DC Legends of Tomorrow. They had a guy who was a perfect Vandal Savage, looked like Vandal Savage, was built like Vandal Savage, acted
Yep.
like it, and I could see Jason Momoa doing that 100%.
Yep, Vandal Savage. I mean, it's like, obviously, look,
As
James
opposed
Gunn's...
to his brother Randall Savage, who played Bonesaw.
Oh yeah. We know that they're gonna go with Darkseid because blah 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 blah.
Yeah, but look, there's nothing to say that they can't work together. I mean, there's a whole, we got a tease of it, which unfortunately wasn't a very good tease and didn't work out. But there's a whole thing called the Legion of Doom. I mean, you know what I mean? Like,
Yep.
there's not saying that if James Gunn does it right, we can have Darkseid, but he can be the Thanos. He could be in the 20th movie. You know what I mean?
Yep. No, I agree. I think that's the
I'm
right...
excited. Look, I think I'm the most excited I've ever been for a relaunch of a movie universe.
And also
I
because Marvel sucks now. And
Yeah,
because
100%.
Marvel sucks now, we need something.
I haven't.
And it's clear they
haven't
can't
seen it.
coexist.
Yeah, exactly.
Yep.
When one's at the top, one's at the bottom. I haven't seen a good Marvel movie since No Way Home, and I'm going to watch Guardians tomorrow, so that'll probably change.
That'll change
But
it. Yeah.
I think No Way Home was the last good Marvel movie I've seen.
Mm-hmm.
The others were like Wakanda Forever. I enjoyed. But Ant-Man, Ant-Man was okay. It was again, for me, it was just a popcorn flick.
Yep, agreed.
But yeah, there's nothing has been at that level since Endgame, and I think that's where Marvel kind of ruined it, because I don't think they're ever going to top anything that happened.
Well, and that's why I maintain, because what was it? Second Spider-Man, Far From Home.
Yep.
I felt like that was a prologue, not a prologue, an epilogue. Sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That itself could have been a nice little wrap up.
Yeah.
But at the same time, No Way Home was freaking awesome.
But I think when they started bringing in the TV shows and saying, you have to watch WandaVision to see Doctor Strange, or you have to watch Loki to understand the Marvel. And look, I'm not knocking the great. Loki was probably the last great good TV show I watched from Marvel, but it's just too intertwining. You know what I mean? Like, it's just too. It's like they don't care. It's like they think we're just going to put our label on it, and people are going to go and see it at the movies no matter what.
But you know who they should have told that you have to watch WandaVision thing to? The people who wrote Doctor Strange and the
Wrote
Multiverse of
Doctor
Madness. They
Strange,
should have...
exactly. But then in saying that, Doc gave us a really good Scarlet Witch, a really accurate power-wise Scarlet Witch. It gave us that Scarlet Witch that we had in Endgame, where she took on Thanos.
Yep.
And that is true. Like, she is one of the most powerful women.
Correct. Yep. I did think that was a very... Yep. I think they did the right thing there with her for sure.
But they just they kind of like they pick the right thing and they go, okay, yes, this is the right thing, and then they just write the story poorly.
It's the Sam Raimi thing. Is like, every now and then he can probably every now and then he'll do something incredible, like the
Spider-Man 2,
Spider-Man 2, Evil
Army
Dead,
of Darkness.
Army of Darkness. The dance scene where he's with Peter Parker down the street. Every now and then he'll do something, just
No, I'm sorry, not the dance. Rent. I pick Rent over that.
Really, over the classic dance?
Yeah, because I'm sorry, the classic. There are more memes of Rent than that. Like have you seen the meme where it's the first Tom Holland Spider-Man Homecoming?
Yeah,
and Iron Man suit opens up, but it's not Iron Man, it's Rent. It's hilarious.
Okay, yeah. But again, but every now and then he does something amazing, but also then he has a tendency to screw things up. So again, that's also
Well, I think about at that point he's at that level where, because there aren't that many phenomenal directors from start to finish. It's a rare thing.
It's usually hit, whoops. You know?
I don't think Multiverse was a bad movie. I think it was great. It had like the whole Illuminati thing was fantastic. Getting to see a great representation, even though it was only for about 5 minutes of Reed Richards, and obviously getting Professor Xavier back with the old X-Men '92 music.
Mm-hmm.
I like that they were good. It was good moments in a good film, but it just wasn't as exciting as, oh my God, this is part of the Infinity Saga.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, agree. 100%. It's
I just think, I don't think Marvel's, and I hate to say it, I don't think they're ever going to get back there.
No.
They're not going to, they peaked with Endgame. It's got to the point now where I'm like, I was disappointed that I didn't get to see Guardians because I was in hospital, but I had no choice. But in terms of Ant-Man, like if I wasn't bored on one afternoon and went and see it, I could have happily waited till it came on Disney Plus.
Oh, I watched it recently, and I was like,
yeah.
I was like, okay.
Wow.
It's not life or death like watching the old school Infinity Saga was. You know what I mean? We had to see it on opening week. You know what I mean? Like we don't have to do that anymore. But I'm hoping with Gunn's DCU, that'll make us want to go and see Superman Legacy on day one or that week. I'm happy to take a day off work to see a freaking comic book movie again. I used to do that. I did that for Iron Man. I did that for Captain America. You know what I mean? Like to be there on opening day.
Yeah.
I want to feel that again, and I hope like it's literally that meme from Clint in Ronin. Don't give me hope because I don't want to be let down again. You know what I mean? So I'm 41. I can only take so much more.
Yeah.
I let down appointment.
Exactly.
So
And
please.
I'm in the same. I'm in the same boat about. That's why I'm so nervous about the Superman thing, because there's probably like this is the last. Like honestly, this might be our last Superman. Like honestly, in our lifetime, because we're old. So like I'm an immortal and I will be reborn again, but it might not be this world. So I don't know. I can't confirm that until it happens. And Jamie wants to extend his life, but again, I've offered him the contract, but he's also not keen on signing the necessary deeds. But that's a separate problem.
I already have. I don't need a contract. I'm already at peak human what do you call it?
Fitness.
No, not fitness. Attractive. I don't know what I'm saying.
You heard it here first.
Jamie
believe J.A. Bryden, author, believes he right now is at peak human attractiveness. All right,
But I'm even willing to go as far as saying maybe this is the last chance I'm going to give DT.
And that's actually more of a valid point than anything we've just said.
Like
tired
of being brought up and brought and kicked down again. You know what I mean? Like I want this to work, so I'm praying for James Gunn to make this work.
And it's worse when you know that they've made good films.
Yes,
but they just aren't consistent.
Exactly. It's like they don't talk to each other.
Yeah, it's like they didn't go, "Hey, look what Christopher Nolan did."
Exactly.
He planned something out and executed it.
You don't need to plan something out. You can be like Disney and just throw darts at a wall.
Well, to be honest, if the James Gunn thing doesn't work, I at least I can say I have the Nolan trilogy. I have Man of Steel, Batman vs Superman, Snyder League, Snyder Cut. There are like
Snyder League.
Welcome to the Snyder League. Welcome to the Snyder League.
There's certain. It's like what we say with Star Wars. Like at least we can go back and watch the first 6 films. You know what I mean? You don't have to watch the rest, and that's what I mean. Like at least we've got that. But
I've got the first 3 where it hasn't been edited or tampered with.
Yes.
But I'm going to say to this, James Gunn, if you're listening, this is your last chance.
Well, how is it his last? It's his only chance because he's only just been given the reins. You can't say this is your last chance. You're acting like you screwed up.
James Gunn, if you're listening, pass this along to DC execs. This is your last chance.
No, this is what it is. It's James Gunn. Help us. You are our only hope.
That's
That's a better analogy.
And honestly, if this works, we can then join America in saying, "In gun we
We
trust."
trust. Nice. Love it.
Are you saying the Second Film Amendment is gun?
Yeah. Yes. I
You're
will
right.
because I'm saying
America
this.
does have the
I
right
will
to
be a
decent
gun
directors.
supporter. I will be a gun supporter.
Oh.
The NGA, the National Gun Association. Just come on.
Yes. Yes.
There's your title for the episode, Jamie. In guns we trust. In guns.
Gun.
Look, we can actually say in guns we trust because we know his brother Sean's going to be cast.
Yeah,
in it.
Sean's in there. So in guns we trust.
can-
Absolutely. Absolutely. Sean's again.
Load of downloads from the Americans because we call this episode "In Guns We
Now,
Trust."
now,
No,
how would you feel about Sean Gunn playing an older Robin in
No.
Dick Grayson?
No. He could play Joe Chill. I'll give him Joe Chill. He can be the person that
well,
killed
let's
in the
let's just
flashback.
face it. He'll be doing all the
He'll be there somewhere.
CGI.
Like he's gonna be
He's a
somewhere.
yeah,
CGI
no,
guy.
no, where he's in the suit because he played Rocket as well.
Yeah,
He did all
he's
the
the Andy
motion
Serkis
cap.
of the
That's it. Yeah.
Yeah, he's the Andy Serkis of DCU.
No, but only Andy Serkis does motion cap and act.
True.
You know, like together.
Well,
Sean
he did as
Sean
well
no,
in-
Sean Gunn does it differently.
yeah,
separately.
because
He does it separately.
Kraglin, it's Kraglin, isn't it?
He
Kraglin?
plays Kraglin, but he
And
also
Rocket.
did the motion cap for Rocket.
Yeah,
Yeah.
He didn't do same at the same time. Or anything, yeah.
exactly.
And just remember,
Yes.
most importantly of all things,
Mm-hmm.
James Gunn watched a film called Zombie Strippers, saw one of the background strippers and went, I'm gonna marry that girl one day, and made it happen. If he can do that,
Mm-hmm.
he can make a decent Superman film.
Okay.
No, Jamie.
I feel like you were going to bring us home, but you know.
No, I know you normally have a final wrap up, so I'm gonna pass the Skeletor torch to you, Jamie.
Okay. I can't do Skeletor's voice.
Niall, Jamie, do the Skeletor.
Skeletor. Okay. Now I'm starting to sound like a 1950s man from the radio.
Oh, say, yeah.
Is that what Skeletor is based on?
Worldwide news today. Women
Yeah.
discovered there's a stove in the oven. I don't know.
There's a stove in the oven.
Today's headline: War. What's it good for?
Yeah.
And in 1933, we found out that 8 birds were walking down the street.
Smoking is healthy, as the doctors
Dude.
agree. Babies should be smoking 3 times a day.
Nothing is wrong with asbestos in your ceilings.
Asbestos, cheap labor for Americans' homes and cities.
Now remember, you do not need safety harnesses ever.
Seatbelts, one step closer to socialism.
Definitely taking that on board because hardly anyone wears.
I'm
seatbelts.
sorry. That's the episode title right there.
Seatbelts.
Socialism.
Closer to socialism.
Yes, Jamie, that's
Oh. No, 100%. That is the title. That is the title.
Does your son wear a seatbelt? He might be a communist.
Oh, that's funny. That's funny.
Okay.
Anyway, thank you for listening, guys. If you have any questions or queries or comments, more hints of communism, send it to thetrueandthefictional@gmail.com or reach out on Instagram at stories_podcast. Me and Ryan have a few interviews coming up, but we also have started a new series, if you haven't heard, called Middle Ages Comic Hour. First one's been doing really well. We're going to do the second one soon, so keep an eye out for that. But guys, when you're drifting off to sleep at night, you turn the lights out. Remember, you are not afraid of being alone in the dark. You're afraid of not being alone in the dark. Thank you, and good night.